Okay, August 10th, workout breakdown, shoulder day, Urban Legend, week number 3, workout number 1 of the week, and the third overall for shoulder day. I'm not going to go over the Urban Legend as it's obviously just, progressive overload, and you guys are working on ramping your weights up and just moving gross tonnage there. But this workout I love a lot. This was a workout we play tested feels like many eons ago. A long time ago. I distinctly remember it. I made a version of this for class. I could not find it. I don't know where it is. So I took the playtest one and we're going to run it back as a studio. A couple adjustments here or there, obviously, to fit all fitness levels. But a 10-minute EMOM, you have the choice of 4 or 5 rounds. So I want to start there. Anytime you guys see 4 or 5 rounds, you have the choice to obviously make that decision. And I give that choice for not just so you can like do lesser than, but mainly so you can decide like, hey, I'm going to put a couple minutes into this, especially if it's a video, because you guys can think about it ahead of time. And I'm going to approach this with a higher level of output or maybe a little bit above expected weights and just aim for 4 rounds. And my goal is to do this pretty much at max for 4 rounds. And if I get to the 5th round, I've already made the understanding with myself and the rationale that I went above expected. And 5th round is probably just not on the table, which is a very acceptable way to approach things. And then the 5 rounds, of course, if we want to make that assumption right out of the gate, you can make the necessary adjustments knowing that you're going to do the full 5 rounds and choose maybe outputs and distances and weights based off of the fact that you know you're going the distance here on the 5 rounds. So that's the point of the 4 or 5 rounds. It's not so you just get to the 4th round and be like, I'm done. Although I know I'll never be able to stop everybody from making that decision. But in a 10-minute EMOM with a couple of options here, all right, not only do you have all the weights you have to make a decision on, and I don't want you guys to underestimate how much the weight selection is going to matter in terms of accumulation and fatigue and lactic acid. It is going to matter a lot here, especially the fact that you have these bricks centered right in the middle of it. And I love this brick setup. You have a short brick with the lower calorie count on the bike into a shorter run, and then you get to go directly into a larger brick, which is cool. Anytime we ascend, if you haven't had the opportunity to work on ascending or descending, I think it's pretty universally known that ascending is much harder than descending. So it's a very fascinating kind of like thought process on how you're going to approach this in terms of output. And whether the second brick looks anything like the first brick. So I'm excited to see this as a trainer. I'm excited to run this back myself as I don't remember all the details to it. But then, coming off of back-to-back bricks, you've got to go into a movement like the push press, which, from an organic level tends to be on the heavier side. So it's fascinating to kind of see the transitions from a back-to-back brick into something is loaded or is naturally heavy as a push press. And regarding the 10-minute EMOM, I don't think finishing it in 10 minutes is much of an issue. If I remember correctly, which I may not, I had like roughly 3 minutes and change every time I finish this. That's not to say that you should also have 3 minutes left. A lot of it, again, is very individual, and individual choices are going to dictate how much time you have left. But I remember needing like all of that 3 minutes to recover and repeat the following round. So, there's lots of little caveats lied in here. And again, if you're somebody that watches these videos, hopefully, take a few minutes before you get to the 10th and you can think about how you're going to approach this before you guys enter the gym. And the more obviously prepared you are with those, the more efficient this is going to be, and the more you're going to get out of these workouts. Relative to the person that walks in with 3 minutes to go on the warm up, has no idea what's going on, and they waste the first 2 rounds kind of just figuring things out. The point of these videos is to allow you guys the opportunity to foreshadow and be proactive on making these decisions.